Hey there, everybody, and welcome back to more Legacy of Kain Defiance. Woo. Woo. It's either that or I start singing We're Living in a Material World and Razzie is a Material Soul. And nobody wants that. Right, so the theme of this section of the game, awful fights. We are playing as Raziel, who is not nearly equipped to deal with these kinds of encounters. And I would say so far these are the toughest fights in the game. I'm sure they will get tougher. But at least for now, this is what we're dealing with. I talked about this in the last video. If you can get these big dudes juggled like this, you can just smack them in the ass. That's his weak point. And you want to take these guys out ASAP. And nice, I got somebody else in there too, which is pretty cool. All right, you need a spanking. Normally I want to take out the other guys first, but the issue is those big guys hit hard and they're quick. So it seemed like the better idea to go ahead and take that guy out first. Well, more accurately, I was able to juggle him, so I figured I might as well take him out right away. Yeah, Raziel said something over by that little font, but I get that dialogue later, so I thought no sense in showing it. This first 8 minutes or so of this video, I actually re-recorded this section just because I did better. Yeah, Raziel, we don't need to do that. We don't have the tool to deal with that at the moment. We will later, but not now. Oh boy, and there's still somebody else over here. I'm enjoying this remix of the Melchiah theme, but it is starting to wear a bit thin. It would be nice to get some different music, and I feel like we've heard most of the music we're going to get in this game. It's not a varied soundtrack. So that's a key to open a door, which is nice because Raziel refuses to use his feet. He needs to learn from Kain. So at this point, when playing this early section, I'm aware of a health talisman off to Raziel's left, but I don't go get it now because I will get it at the end of the video. For continuity purposes, I'm leaving it for now. Also, there's a trap here, which I did not realize my earlier attempt at playing this chapter. So, we want to avoid these as much as possible. And you can't jump over them, or they still activate. But if you just walk around it, it's fine. And that trap leads to another long and drawn out fight. There are a lot of them in this video. So we are on fight number 2 now. You can run from these dudes, but you have to do platforming, and I'm not great at judging distances. I have no depth perception, so for me it was easier to just fight these dudes. Nearly every one of these groups has at least one, sometimes more of those big dudes. And these guys suck. They're probably worse than the statues in some ways. Now, if you can juggle them like you saw before, then they're fine. And they have far less health than the statues, but they're so much quicker. And they still hit really hard. Plus the statues, I'm just going to go all out and use the refill health cheat when I face them. Save as much time as I can. So you can see what I'm trying to do. I'm doing heavy attacks to try to juggle this guy. And then I try stunning him. And then I got stuck in the environment for a while there, which was not fun. So I end up juggling this guy instead. Or gal, whichever. Which is cool. I'll go ahead and take care of this person, but even though Raziel's taking hits from fireballs, which is annoying. Screw you. Give me them souls. Yeah, I don't know why the big dude fucked off, but I'm not going to complain about it. You can probably get an idea watching this just how much more these combat encounters drag out these videos. This is why I try to run from fights whenever I can. I much prefer skipping these combat encounters, but you know where we are if you saw the last video with Kain, so you can get an idea of what kind of platforming I'm going to have to do. It's actually a little worse than it was in Kain's chapter, and this game does not have good depth perception, and neither do I. So I was not going to be able to do that with this guy running after me. Fortunately, got him in a loop where I was able to give him a spanking. Hey, you never know, he might like that. So I was able to make do. Plus, there are dudes up there that are going to be chucking shit at you. That took me a few tries to get. But you go spectral. And we need to avoid those stupid Slua. No need to fight. Raziel, no need to fight. God. Although, those big dudes, I will say this. Getting spanked by a fire sword, probably unpleasant. Probably gonna have a burning sensation. Probably reminds the guy of the last time he met a girl at a tavern. 'Cause she dirty. I guess after you go through the spectral realm, it defaults you to the normal Reaver. Which, okay, I guess. Kind of makes sense since in Soul Reaver 2, it did that. But I actually thought to go ahead and switch Reaver types. Normally I don't really pay attention to that, but I'm going to try to do that in the future. And I don't remember if I show off the light special move when you have the Reaver charged with the light element. Yeah, I'm gonna go with element. I don't know, it's like 6:30 in the morning. I'm tired. I have not been sleeping well lately. I can fall asleep quickly enough. That's not a problem, but then I wake up. I think Saturday night I slept like 30 minutes. So my original time doing this, I actually used the light Reaver and I definitely noticed a difference. I didn't think about it this time since I knew I was going to need the fire Reaver for that door. But I will show that off at some point when we come across some shades. I'll use the light Reaver. I can confirm it does seem to take them out a lot quicker. So we will be doing that. So this is kind of a goofy area. We got to block these wind tunnels. Awesome. And then kinesis that. For some reason, he would not do that standing over by the thing, which is annoying. And that locks the other one in place. If you don't do that and you move the second one, the other one will come out. And normally you need the Wind Reaver for this, but for some reason, this one time, you can use whatever you want. I don't get it. They could have come up with a different way to do that. Maybe have an air vent. But, oh well. I know these guys never had the time they needed to make these games. So unlocking that will actually move that first block for you. So that's a bit of a time saver.
I was transported to yet another ancient vampire chamber. This one apparently aligned with the elemental power of air.
Awesome. So let's go ahead and check out the Wind Temple. Yeah, you knew this was coming at some point. I couldn't not do it. I might continue this, I might not. We'll have to see.
These murals had suffered some damage. Once again, I recognized the vampire's hero, but this scene revealed something new. For here they had also depicted his destined adversary, now partially obscured, who seemed to bear a flaming sword.
Ooh. And what Raziel does not realize is he doesn't know who the vampire hero is, but that starts to give the idea that there's also a Hilden champion. So we've got one character on the vampire side and one for the Hilden side. And we got two characters, so who seem pretty destined to have a fight at some point. Neither know which side they're on. And that will pretty much be the case throughout this game. They never really find out until it comes to a head. And even then, well, you'll see. I should have used a charge attack. I think I do eventually. But I couldn't tell if it was fully charged or not. I don't think it is, actually. Never mind. But I will show off the charged Reaver attack with the light form at some point. I just don't know when I'll do it. I thought I did it in this video, but if not, then I'll do it in another one. There we go. Awesome. That's fun. Setting people on fire and watching them run around like idiots is hilarious. In video games, not in real life. Although if it's setting pedos on fire, that's okay. Confirmed pedos, not just people you suspect. People that you know what they did. Much like in the previous temple, good to get rid of these things. They're just going to get in the way otherwise. So that is going to be a theme throughout this game, is the vampire and Hilden champions. And how important that actually is. But that'll be much later. I don't know why I just did that. Well, it actually doesn't matter because we have to go spectral. Like in the previous temple, we have bosses to fight. I think these were supposed to be in Soul Reaver 2 and got cut.
In winning all, we lost all. In winning what we thought mattered, we lost what truly mattered. But for you, there is a chance.
What chance is that?
The bliss of death. I offer it.
But I do not accept.
Ooh, she's getting saucy. And Raziel needs to work on his smack talk. I think this might be the Dimension Guardian. She's going to start cloning herself at some point. Yeah, there it is. You can smack them and they'll dissipate. But that does make this fight more annoying than it needs to be. But I'll take that over shades or tentacles. Sweet. That's something I'm not sure of. Can you charge a Reaver in the Spectral Realm? I need to look that up. It would be nice to be able to do that. I'm guessing that's a physical realm thing. There we go. One down. One to go. Yeah, how Dimension or whatever else we're going to get makes wind, I'm not really sure. But we do get some of this wonderful aesthetic. It's so good. Yeah, I was just being quiet there just to take in the atmosphere. Because I like it. Oh god, that reminds me of a story. But I'm not going to tell it. Either way, here is another health upgrade piece, which is nice. And then back to the spectral realm. Come on, give me souls. There's a severe lack of souls in this game. They're not as common as they were in Soul Reaver 1. And I did notice there were a lot less in Soul Reaver 2. But I'm not sure if that was the remaster. Or if it was originally like that. I think it might have been originally like that.
You too share the curse. Submit and be released.
Never.
I do enjoy what sounds like Raziel talking to himself because I'm pretty sure that's Raziel's voice actor. Just doing an old man voice. Which is funny because even at this time, he was already an old man. So far, this has been the least memorable of these Guardian fights. I know there's one coming up where if I did not have the health cheat, I'm not sure how I would deal with it because I know it will give me a lot of trouble. It did in my original playthrough. That won't be till much later. Actually, it could be Raziel's next section, I'm not sure. But there is one where you have to fight two of them at the same time with a bunch of Slua. And I remember that gave me a lot of problems. You can bat these out of the air, but I find it easier to just jump around and avoid them. I say as I get hit by two of them. Now you submit. Damn it, stop teleporting. I said submit. Damn you, Guardian. Submit. That's not submitting. Yeah, this whole midsection of the game is going to be Raziel and Kain just going through temples. Raziel does have a goal of getting to Vordor, but that is going to require him going through another temple when he gets there. So I'm not sure how much story we're going to get in Vordor's area. I imagine we'll get a little bit. But God help me, do I need story, because I need something to talk about. So I was trying to see if I could grab some souls before going through this gate. But this is cool. Slow-mo. That is in game. That is not an effect I did. But that's pretty dope. I like that. And I don't really worry about using these souls here because Raziel won't be back here. At least I don't think he will. I do remember a section. I don't remember if it's Kain or Raziel that does it. Maybe both. Where you have to use these stargates and travel through multiple temples.
As the Reaver absorbed the souls of the Mind and Dimension Guardians, it was imbued with the elemental power of air with which their principles were aligned.
Awesome, so we got the Wind Reaver back, and it's a lot easier to deal with in this game. You just jump up, and it'll hold you up, and then you press X and go in the direction you want on PlayStation. So we need to move each of these 3 times. You want to do these before kinesising that door because it saves you time to do these both at the same time, if that makes sense. You can do these one at a time or together. Doing them together is obviously a time saver. Otherwise, you have to do these one at a time, and it's just insanity. Yeah, this is me just trying to figure out which Reaver is which. I have a hard time seeing those symbols, but there's at least one section towards the end of the game that I'm going to need to know where each of these are in the pecking order, because I will have to switch between them quickly. And I'm not looking forward to that either, but I shall make do. So this is our first kind of section where we are switching between the Reaver types. Like I've said before, it's really nice that we don't have to use fonts, because this would be a pain otherwise. So it's nice the devs listen to fan feedback from Soul Reaver 2. This is much easier than turning circles with the control stick. So this game does introduce its own jank, but it does reduce some of the jank from previous games, which is nice. I would love to have landed on that wall, but I don't know if you could do that either way. Could have been cool. Yeah, these first few temples are pretty simple, but they are getting more and more complex. We've got 2 more as Raziel, and I don't remember what we have to do, but I'm sure it's going to be more annoying. Particularly the Earth one. Epic. Chevron 7 is locked. Now it's just tough because the draw of these games is the story, and there's this huge chunk of no story happening. So really that's what I want to talk about, is the story. I'm just kind of calling out what I'm doing, not so much as a walkthrough, but just because what else am I going to talk about? Whee! I still prefer the original Stargate transition, but I do kind of like that one too. Reminds me of a water slide. Right, so I said that we would get several annoying fights in this chapter. I guess it's just 3. Be sure to get the Fire Reaver out for this. And the worst one is coming up. At least the remaining fights you can run past, which I try to do. There's 2 of these big dudes, a bunch of other people, at least a couple sorcerers. Yeah, this fight sucked. I had to save state my way to victory for this one. And I don't know if I continued my re-record, if I could have done better at this. But this is what you're getting. And the camera is not your friend here. The camera sucks for this part. But thank the metal gods, I was able to juggle this guy. But I can't consistently do that. I thought you hit him with heavy attacks and eventually it would happen. And I guess that's what you have to do, but there's something I'm missing because I can't do it consistently. Also be careful because there is water here. It won't damage Raziel, but it is annoying. Because then you gotta swim out and... yeah, it's just annoying. Nobody wants to deal with that. Awesome. And I'm trying to see if I can do something about those dudes chucking shit at Raziel, but... I'm not noticing anything happening there. Yeah, this so far has been the worst fight in the game for me. That one at the start was pretty awful too. And as you can see, there's a force field, so you have to engage in this one. And I don't remember Kain having to fight anybody. I'm sure he will. I'm sure there will be forced arena fights with him. But I'm just not remembering them now. But Raziel gets a lot of them. And this is just not the place to have a major brawl. This is an area to fight 1 or 2 guys. Or maybe 4 or 5 normal dudes. I do love that you can do this. It's actually quite hilarious. Yeah, they're easy enough if you can do that. But I don't know why I can't do that consistently. I'm sure I'm not doing something right. But oh well, that is pretty much all the combat for the chapter. Not all of the enemies, because they are still showing up, but you don't have to fight anybody else, so I'm not going to, unless they piss me off. Give me those souls. I'm so glad those respawn. I'm guessing the blood fountains respawn as well. And here's where I mentioned I'm going to go for that health upgrade. And you can see all those big dudes and all those sorcerers and... oh, no Raziel. I want the upgrade piece. Upgrade piece. There's no need to fight these dudes. We're almost at the end of the chapter. Finally. I'm pretty sure Vordor's area is Raziel's next chapter. That is going to suck. I already know that's going to suck. And it's going to be very long and drawn out. It might be a couple videos. I'm getting hit here because I'm trying to find the Wind Reaver. And now I'm just fighting these dudes out of spite, so I was wrong. There's a little more combat. I was just pissed at these dudes. And then I'm trying to get the soul from one, and then I'm getting attacked by another dude, which is just angering me even further. And so I was hoping with all this fighting, I'd be able to show off the wind charge attack. And yeah, I'm going to have to show the light charge attack in another video because that was when I was fighting the shades on my original recording. But I'll do it. As long as I remember, because the next section we will be playing as Kain, so there is all the chance in the world I'll forget.
This seemed to be attuned to the elemental principle of air.
Great, Raziel. Great. I'm aware of that. All right, well, that's it.
With the Reaver endowed with the elemental power of air, the way to Vorador's refuge lay open at last. If the old vampire still lived, he alone could tell me how to escape the terrible destiny charted for me when the Reaver was forged. Vorador's refuge was hidden deep within the Black Forest. I hope to find him before Mobius's cutthroats did.
Thanks for watching, and I'll see y'all next time with more Defiance.